So in this video, we are going to learn how to add Zoho Books invoices details in Google Sheets. Let's say using Zoho Books, you are generating invoices for your business. But on a regular basis, you have to keep sharing your invoices with your team members like the audit team, accounts team, and a lot of people. Now let me tell you, you can actually completely automate the process of adding Zoho Books invoices in Google Sheet, and you can share that Google Sheet with all the invoice details with your team members. And in this automation, whenever a new invoice will be created in Zoho Books, automatically as they are created instantly within few seconds, the details of that invoices will be added in Google Sheets. Now, if you want to know how you can set up this kind of automation, for that you just have to come with me to my screen.
So as you can see, this is my Zoho Books account. Now I want that whenever a new invoice is created in Zoho Books, automatically the details of that new invoices should be added in a Google Sheet as a new row. In this way, I can maintain a complete record of each and every invoice created in Zoho Books with all of their details. And if I want to share this invoices related data, like with my accounts or audit team, I can directly do that from here. Now to do this, we have to connect our Zoho Books account with Google Sheets. And we are going to use Pabbly Connect, which is an automation and integration platform to do so. So here you can see we are on Pabbly Connect's dashboard. And to reach this dashboard, you will get a free sign-up link of Pabbly Connect in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can create your free Pabbly Connect account in just 2 minutes. After reaching to this dashboard, we have to create an automation workflow over here. So click on Create Workflow and give this workflow a name. So let's say I want to name a workflow as Zoho Books to Google Sheets. And then select the folder of your Pabbly Connect account in which you want to create this automation and click on Create. Now when we click on Create, you will see an automation workflow is open over here. And in this workflow, we can see 2 different windows. First one is the trigger window and second one is the action window. So triggers and actions are basically those 2 concepts, those 2 principles on which this whole automation works on. Where the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. So let's start with our trigger window. Now the idea here is, first we have to connect our Zoho Books account with Pabbly Connect in the trigger step. So that whenever a new invoice is created in Zoho Books, automatically the details of that new invoice will be received inside Pabbly Connect and this automation workflow will trigger. After that, using this Pabbly Connect automation, we are going to send the details of the new invoice which we have received from Zoho Books, and we are going to add those details over here. So let's see how it is done. Starting from our trigger window, in Choose Apps, search for Zoho Books. Just select it. After selecting Zoho Books in trigger event from the drop-down, select the trigger event as New Invoice. And after selecting a trigger event, you will see Pabbly Connect gave us a webhook URL. Now using this webhook URL, we are going to connect our Zoho Books account with Pabbly Connect. So we have to add this webhook URL in our Zoho Books account. Now you must be thinking how we are going to do this. So to do it, we just have to follow the instructions over here given below. Just copy this webhook URL from here and go to your Zoho Books account. After coming to Zoho Books, from the top right corner, go to Settings, and under Settings, we will just scroll down and we have to go to this section of Automation and click on Workflow Actions. After clicking on Workflow Actions from the left sidebar, select Webhooks, and here you will see a list of all the webhook URLs which you have created, which you have added in Zoho Books. Right now, I have only one webhook and we are going to add a new one. So click on this new webhook button and then give this webhook URL a name. Let's say I'll name my webhook URL as Pabbly Connect. Then it is asking us for the module. And here in drop down of module, you can see a list of different modules over here. Out of all of this, because we want to send the data related to invoices, so select invoice over here. Then if you want, you can add some description for this webhook, but the field is not mandatory, so we can ignore it for now. Then it is asking us URL and parameters. So here in URL and parameters, here from this drop down, we have to select this method as post. And here in enter your URL section, we have to enter the exact same webhook URL which Pabbly Connect gave us. Just copy it from here and then paste it over here. After pasting the URL, just scroll down. We don't have to make any changes or select any option and click on this Save button. And as we click on Save, you can see a webhook URL named Pabbly Connect is just now added in my Zoho Books account. Now what do we want? We want that whenever a new invoice is created, the details of that new invoice should be sent using this webhook URL to Pabbly Connect. So what we are going to do, from the left sidebar itself, before workflow action, you can see this option of workflow rules. Go to workflow rules and we are going to create an automation workflow rule in Zoho Books. Click on this new workflow rule button and give this rule a name. For example, I'll name it as new invoices. Then it is asking us for the module once again, so we are going to select the same invoice module and click on next. After clicking on next, here it is asking us that on happening of which event we want to trigger, we want to send the data to Pabbly Connect. So we are going to select this workflow type as event based, and when invoice is created, we are going to select this created option over here. If you have any kind of doubts or confusion while setting up this webhook URL or adding this webhook URL, you can always refer to the help text given below over here. It is clearly mentioned that what are the steps we have to follow. We have to select workflow type as created over here. So that's why we have selected created and click on next. After clicking on next, it is asking us filter trigger field. So we don't have to add any filter. Just click on next once again. And then here it is asking us action type. So from the drop down, select the action type as webhooks, and from name, here select the webhook URL which we have just now added. So PC, this was the webhook URL which I already had, and Pabbly Connect, this is the webhook URL which we have just now added. So we have to select that webhook URL and click on save. And it is done. We have successfully added this new invoices workflow rule, using which whenever a new invoice will be created in our Zoho Books account, automatically the details of that invoices will be sent to Pabbly Connect. Now after adding this rule, after adding the webhook URL, click on this recapture webhook response button inside Pabbly Connect, and it will change to waiting for webhook response. So this means Pabbly Connect is waiting to get some response, some details of a new invoice from Zoho Books. So let's do it. We are going to create a new invoice in our Zoho Books account. So I'll just go to the home page and I'll go to the invoices section over here. Here I'm going to create a new invoice. Just click on this new button and then let's select the customer. So the name of my customer is demo user. This is the customer for which I'm creating the invoice. We will scroll down. This is my invoice number. If you want, you can add some order number as well, that for which particular order this invoice is created. Then the invoice date is 16th of January 2024. And then here in term, you can see we have this different terms over here. So let's say I want to make the payment as I want the payment term as due end of the month. So we are selecting it. Then after that, we have to select the salesperson for this invoice, who was the salesperson. Then after that, it is asking me for the subject. So let's say I want the subject to be like, whenever we are going to create an invoice in Zoho Books, an email will be sent with the invoice to the customer. So what will be the subject line of the email? We have to enter that. For example, I want my subject line to be payment invoice. So this is the subject line of the email. Then let's add the item. For example, I have this item of round neck t-shirt. Let me change the quantity as, for example, quantity is 7. And the rate of this particular item in my Zoho Books account is 599 rupees. I want to apply or discount was, for example, 10%, and it is done. So just now we have created an invoice. We have selected the customer, the due dates, and then we have added a product in this invoice. The total amount of this invoice is 3,773 rupees and 70 paise. So this is the total amount of this invoice. The customer name is demo user. So we'll just scroll down, and then after that, let's click on this save and send button. Now here we have multiple options like save and send later, save and share, save and print. But I want to save this invoice. I want to create this invoice in my Zoho Books account and also want to send the invoice as an email to the customer. So let's click on send. So just now a new invoice is created in my Zoho Books account, as you can see over here. Now as I create this new invoice, we will see within few seconds the details of this exact same invoice is received inside Pabbly Connect. So here in this trigger step, you can see just now we have received this response. And in this response, you will see the details of the exact same invoice which we have created just now. So here you can see the total amount of the invoice, that is 3,773 rupees. We will scroll down further and we will see all the other details related to this invoice. So we'll just scroll down, and after scrolling down, here you can see we have name of the salesperson that who sold this product to the customer. Then we'll scroll down further. Then we have the reference number. We have the order number, that for which particular order this invoice was created. We will scroll down further. We have the payment term over here. Then let's scroll down. And after payment term, here you can see we have this thank you message which was shown to the customer. Then we have the price of the product, the rate of the product, that at what price, at what rate the product was sold. Then after that, we can see the quantity, that what is the quantity of the product the customer purchased. Then after that, we have the name of the product. We'll scroll down further. Once again, we have the total amount. And then here you can see the discount amount as well, that what is the total discount we have offered, we have given to the customer. We have the discount percentage. Then after that, we'll scroll down further. You can see the date and time, that at what date and time this invoice was created. Then after that, here you can see invoice URL. This is the URL. This is the link of the same invoice which we have created. We will just paste this URL in a new tab, and here you can see this exact same invoice which we have created just now. After this, we will scroll down. We have this invoice number, the unique invoice number of this particular invoice. We have the email address of the customer. Then after that, we have the payment due date. We will scroll down further. We have the invoice date over here, and then we have the name of the customer and some other details related to that. So in this way, you can see all the details of this new invoice which we have created. All of these details are received inside Pabbly Connect. So this means the step 1 of setting up this automation is completed. Now after this, let's move to step 2. And in step 2, we want to add some of these details in our Google Sheet as a new row over here. So for that, we will just scroll down, come to this action window, and here in Choose App, search for Google Sheets. Just select it. After selecting Google Sheets in action event from the drop down, select the action event as Add New Row. Then just click on Connect and select Add New Connection. Now here, we have to connect our Google Sheets account with Pabbly Connect. And to make this connection, just click on this Sign In with Google button. Select your Google Sheets account, scroll down and click on Continue. And as we click on Continue, we will see our Google Sheets account will get connected with Pabbly Connect. So after making this connection, the first thing it asks us is to select the spreadsheet. And here in the drop-down, you can see a list of all the spreadsheets which I have in my Google Sheets account. So out of all of this, we have to select the spreadsheet, that in which particular spreadsheet we want to add the invoice details from Zoho Books. So I have created the spreadsheet named as Zoho Books Invoice. So from this drop-down, I'm going to select the same spreadsheet. After selecting the spreadsheet, it is asking us to select the sheet. And right now in this drop-down, you can see only one option as Sheet 1. This is because in this Google spreadsheet, I have only one sheet named as Sheet 1. If you have multiple sheets in your Google spreadsheet, the list of all of those sheets will be received under this drop-down of Select Sheet. And you can select the sheet that out of all of them, in which particular sheet you want to add the invoice details. So right now, I'm just selecting this sheet over here. After selecting the sheet, here you can see there are a list of different fields over here. So all the column of data which we have created in our Google Sheets, you can see all of these columns as fields inside Pabbly Connect. And in these columns, we have to enter the details of the new invoice which we have received from Zoho Book in the trigger step. Like here you can see I have the first column of invoice number. And here in Pabbly Connect in this Google Sheets action step, you can see invoice number as the first field. So we have received the invoice number, the invoice ID in the trigger responses from Zoho Books. So here you can see this is the response of invoice number. Now what we have to do, we have to basically map the response of invoice number from this Zoho Books step responses to this Google Sheets action step. And the process of mapping is very simple. Simply click on this field, and here in this drop down, you can see a list of all the responses which we have received from Zoho Books of a new invoice. Out of all of these responses, we are going to select the response of invoice number. So we will just scroll down and search for that particular response. And here it is. So this is the response of invoice number. Just select this response and it will be mapped. In this way, whenever we are going to create a new invoice in Zoho Books, automatically all the details of that invoice with the invoice number will be received inside Pabbly Connect. And from Pabbly Connect, we are going to send the same invoice number to Google Sheet, and the same invoice number will be added in this cell, in this column of invoice number in Google Sheets. Similarly, we are going to use the same process of mapping for rest of the fields as well. Like we are searching for customer ID, so I'll be just searching for customer ID over here. And here's the response of customer ID from Zoho Book responses. Just select that response and it will be mapped. Then let's map the customer name. So let's search for the customer name response, and here it is. Just select it and map it. Then we are going to map the customer email. So I'll be just searching for email, and the invoice email, the customer email is this. Then we are going to enter the invoice date. So let me search for invoice date over here, date. We will just scroll down and here you can see invoice date formatted. So this is the response of invoice date, that at what date this invoice was created. Just select it and map it over here. Then we have to enter the due date of the invoice. So I'll just search for the due date and here it is. Just select and map it. So in this way, we are going to enter all the details. So let's search for product over here, that what is the product the customer has purchased. For which particular product we have created this invoice. So let's search the product name was, for example, it was t-shirt. And here it is, product name, item name. Then let's select the quantity. So let's map the response of quantity, the quantity which the customer has ordered. The quantity of product for which we created this invoice was 7. So we have mapped the response of quantity in the field of quantity. Then we are going to map the discount, that if we have given any discount to the customer, what is the discount percent. So this is the discount amount over here. Discount amount, let's select it and map it. And then we are going to map the total amount, that what is the total amount of this particular invoice. And here is the total amount. At last, we are going to add the invoice URL. The link of the invoice we have generated, we are going to map that invoice URL as well. So let's search for invoice URL and here it is. Just select it and map it. So in this way, I have created this Google Sheet with basic details over here, and we have seen all of these columns as fields inside Pabbly Connect. And one by one, we have mapped all the details of the invoice, new invoice which we have received from Zoho Books into their respective fields. Now, if you want, you can add some more columns for some more details in your Google Sheet and map the respective details into those fields. And after mapping all the details, just click on Save and Send Test Request. Now, when we click on Save and Send Test Request, you can see we have received some response. And this response seems to be a positive response to us. This response shows that the details of a new invoice which we have mapped over here, basically the details of a new invoice which we have received from Zoho Books, all of these details of a new invoice are now added as a new row in Google Sheets. So let's check it. We'll go to our Google Sheet and yes, here you can see just now a new row of data is added over here. And here in these details, you can see the details of the same invoice which we have just now created in Zoho Books. You can see the same invoice number, same customer ID, same name, email, invoice date, due date, product, quantity, discount amount, total amount, and also we have the invoice URL over here. So in this way, you can see the automation workflow we have created using Pabbly Connect. This automation is working perfectly fine. Now, after setting up this automation, we are going to test this automation workflow once. So for that, we'll go back to our Zoho Books account and we are going to create another invoice over here. So I'll just click on this new button and then we are going to create a new invoice. Let's select the customer as, for example, this time the customer name is test user. Then after that, we are going to give this order number, this invoice, an order number, that for which particular order we are creating this invoice. The invoice date, the date at which we are creating the invoice, is 16th of January 2024. And the due date is basically the net 30 days. So after 30 days, the due date is, that is 15th of August 2024. Then after that, I'm just going to select the salesperson as John, for example. The subject line is, for example, order invoice. You can give any subject line of your choice. And then let's select the product. This time the product is coffee mug. We are selling some coffee mugs and the quantity of these coffee mugs are, for example, 10. The rate of this coffee mug is $7.99 and we are not giving any discount this time. The discount amount is 0. And the total amount is 7,990 rupees. So we'll just scroll down. We will just click on Save and Send. And then we are just going to send this invoice as an email to this customer. So just now we have created a new invoice in our Zoho Books account for this test user. The customer name is test user. Now after creating this invoice, what we are going to do, we'll go to our Google Sheet and here within few seconds we will see, yes, that's right, within few seconds we have the details of the same invoice which we have created. We have the same invoice number, we have the same customer ID, we have the customer name, test user, customer email, invoice date, due date, product, quantity, that was 10. The discount is 0, we haven't given any discount, the total amount and the invoice URL. And if you click on this link, in a new tab you can see the same invoice is open in front of us. This means the automation workflow which we have created using Pabbly Connect, this automation is working perfectly fine. So not just these applications, you can connect plenty of other applications with Pabbly Connect. And one more important thing, you will find the clone link of this exact same workflow in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can clone the same workflow into your own Pabbly Connect account and use this automation workflow for free.
If you have any kind of doubts or queries, you can email us at support@pabbly.com or post it on our forum over here. or you can write us in the comment box below too. If you want to check out the pricing of Pabbly Connect, you can visit this link. And if this video was helpful to you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Pabbly. So this is it for today's video. Thank you. Have a great day.